Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast, presented to you by Music Never Stopped. Today is Monday, April 14th, and he's back! It's Alex Bazemore, ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing, podcast for lot?
Yeah.
Come be on a lot podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah, All Jammed Up.
This dude's doing a podcast. If you want to be on some podcast, come give an interview.
Hell yeah.
Hey, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Good morning, fools. Today is Monday, April 14th, and we're back with, you guys know him, Alex Bazemore.
Woo-hoo. Sunday morning.
We're sipping mimosas, Sunday morning podcast. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Alex is back. He was the first episode, 25, kind of a milestone episode. So we figured we'd get him in here for all the milestone episodes.
I feel like Ricky Bobby with this microphone right now. I'm like, yep, we did good today. We raced fast. Car ran real good. I like to go fast.
What is he? He's like, I don't know what to do with my
like,
hands.
yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, sometimes I have to hold him, and when I do it here, I'm just going to let it stand up like this, so I don't have to hold it. Because holding it
I
is...
could just like go like this.
There you go. How comfortable is that for you?
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
How's it for you?
Ask the viewers how it is if they like this view of
How
Alex.
is this for y'all, you know? This is actually a lead-in into my new side business. No, I'm just kidding. No, we'll save that for another time.
So yeah, man, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks,
So much
man.
has happened
Good to see
since-
you. I know, you've been, like, killing the game, dude.
When we did this podcast the first time, that was like the first time we ever talked.
I know, I was thinking that on the way over here. I was like, it just feels like I'm going over to my buddy's house for, like, a wake and bake chill before my gig today.
Yeah.
It's like, but the first time I came over, I was like, I'm like,
some
okay,
weirdos,
like, I don't know
huh?
this guy, but like, I guess we're gonna go talk in his little room. I walked in through the garage too, like I didn't even go upstairs.
Yeah, I didn't even bring you upstairs last time. It was strictly
I know.
business.
It was strictly like in and out, dude.
We had a couple citra bums though. We loosened up.
We did. I showed
Pretty
up to
quickly.
my gig kind of buzz, and I was like, let's go.
Yeah, that's not new for you though.
No. But you know, that's like a thing that I learned from people like older cats, wiser. You know, they're like buzz management.
Do you ever find yourself like too fucked up on stage?
No, I don't
No.
let myself like get on stage. I think in the past, like
Yeah.
I maybe like would have moments occasionally where you're like, you realize that you're like, you don't have the option to like sit down or like that everyone's looking at you, which doesn't like cross my mind very often. You know, I'm just like, it's like very natural and comfortable. But then it's like, yeah, you have an existential moment where you're like, oh, like if I wanted to sit down right now, I couldn't. But that's and I remember feeling that. I was like, I don't want to ever feel that way on stage.
Yeah.
So, because you know, you like everyone's getting down at the shows, and they're like, you want this or
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, I'm good. I got to take care of business, you know.
I will say that one time I went to your band practice at Jackson's house for the Sons of Stars. I felt like you had drank a lot before that, and I was like, this dude's going to be too loose to practice. And then, like, as soon as you picked up the guitar, it was, like, strictly business. It was, like, it was so funny, dude. Like, just watching you go from, like, we were all having a good time, and you picked up the guitar, and you're like, play that right.
You got to keep on your toes, you know. But,
That was the origins
when you're on
of...
the streets, got to be able pick up the easy beat with your eyes closed.
I don't know that one.
That's Dogs, Pink Floyd. It's off the Animals album.
I haven't listened to that much Pink Floyd. I feel like I'm going to get crucified for that one, but...
That's
I know,
okay.
like...
They're like a band that I feel like really changed through like time. They like started off, each album they put out was like very progressively like stepping in another direction, which was cool. Whatever record company they had, that was allowing them to like not just
Stick
put
to one
out
thing.
some consistent product,
Yeah.
you know. But everything they did was like, yeah, different, but in a way, like, cause it started off with like Sid Barrett, and then he like, yeah, like got too fucked up on stage and was like tripping balls on acid in like London in
Yeah.
the 60s, and he eventually, like, there's a whole lot of, you know, conspiracy or not conspiracy, but hearsay about what really like Sid's mindset was, you know, of like, was he schizophrenic, and like the acid just like sent him off, or like, you know.
That was the same thing with Fleetwood Mac too.
Do what?
The same thing with Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, the
I
what's
think
his name?
the
It's
lead.
like-
I can't remember his name. Like the
it's
lead.
like maybe Peter Green. I don't know, but the same thing.
Yeah,
happened,
he did a bunch of acid and then like
then,
went up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, and you gotta wonder, it's like how much of it is like the coconut telephone line.
Yeah.
And it's just easy to say like, oh, acid casualty or something, but it's like,
Or too, like how much of it was like that was gonna happen at some point in his life. It was just like the acid kind of got you there quicker. Just like having that kind of breakdown.
yeah, that was like, that's what the like back and forth talk on Sid Barrett is. Is like, he was like, but anyways, he ended up leaving the band, or like they asked him to leave, I guess, because he wasn't consistent enough.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, and it's like, yeah, and like you got to stay consistent. But then they changed after that. They brought in David Gilmour and like went. I'm not gonna go down the Pink Floyd rabbit hole because I could, but like
Maybe next time.
really cool man.
I do want to get into like other bands' lore, like, cause I hear about like the Eagles have a good story, and then like I'm sure bands like Led Zeppelin have a good lore, and like I only know like the Grateful Dead lore really.
Yeah,
And I mean that's so much there, but
Led Zeppelin is like my first love.
Yeah.
Of the band is like, my dad burned me like Led Zeppelin 3.
my Aunt Liz, shouts out Aunt Liz, she listens. She
Aunt
listened
Liz.
and she was like, shouts out to Alex Bazemore. Led Zeppelin's my favorite band when she watched that episode.
Oh, were we talking about Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There we go again. But but going back to the practice thing, and like we went to the bar and played pool beforehand at old Frazier's, you know, because
Never finished the game.
we did.
We were just all going in circles, telling stories.
We had the
hitting
best
shot.
time though.
Yeah, we had a great time.
And then we like showed up to practice, and it was like, I was like, oh man, we got to practice now. And
That was fun though, man. Just being there watching you guys. That was
Oh,
the
yeah.
origins of Let Jackson Sing.
Let Jackson sing.
Yeah.
We need to do it again. It was, and I remember we like said something too about it was like nice having like.
Put it a little closer to you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is this good? For
Yeah,
you?
that's better.
Not over here.
Nope, you can't hear it.
Here.
There you go.
We should do the leg thing again. But yeah, like Jackson mentioned, I think that it was nice like having like one audience member.
Yeah.
Like, but like it was like, yeah, practice, you know, makes better.
I wanted to like kind of get in your guys' grill and like record and then make like a cool edit of it, but I was like, maybe they don't want me like in their face while they're practicing.
I think we want to do more of that stuff.
Okay.
Like the guys from, you know, like Luke Black and Brewery and all their content stuff is great.
Yeah.
Like I think they have that one band, Cahaba Roots.
Yep,
maybe.
that's it. Yeah.
And it's like,
They said that's just for content, really. That
yeah, I
band's
think
like
that was
just for
you telling
content.
me.
Yeah.
And but they have these great videos of them. Just I guess they're in their Berkeley dorm,
Mhm.
and they're like, yeah, you've seen them. They're just it's tight and concise and trading. And I want to get more into doing more of that maybe, and then like separate the practice time from the video.
Yeah.
And, like, almost like rehearse something for content. Like that's kind of what a lot of people are doing now too. You know. But,
Yeah, because like I'm having fun. Like that's probably, other than the actual interviewing part of it, the next fun part about the podcast is like editing the stuff and like doing the cool transitions and just like learning more. So like I tried to do it because I recorded a couple videos at Steven's birthday, and like I fooled around with just like a couple edits. I never finalized anything, but it was fun just to like fuck around and try to make it sound cool.
Yeah, I bet you have like, do you get like thoughts in your head where you're like, you'll be like editing and you're like, oh, if I knew how to like make this zoom in or,
Yeah.
or like a little splice happen, you know, something
I
like
bought
that.
CapCut Pro, and it's pretty easy. Like a lot of the stuff, like once you find it, that's the hard part. Is there's like so much there, and like terms I don't really know what it means. So like I just skip by it, and then I'll look up like how to do this, and I'll be like, this is what it's called. And then once CapCut kind of just makes it super easy for you.
Yeah, they like
Fucking better, though.
I have it too.
Oh, yeah?
I don't have the Pro or anything, but like I got it to help with some like text on the screen stuff, you know.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that's like feels so. I'm like 26. I feel like I should be pretty good at this, and I'm okay at it. But
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's like it's a little foreign, you know, because it's like the art and that feel almost like they used to feel more separated to me. Like, oh, the art, because the music is its own thing. But now I'm like getting new kicks off of like there is a creative edge
Yeah.
to all of the creation of the content as well.
And I feel like you have to like. That's a thing I didn't consider when I started this. Is like how active I have to be on social media now to like get people to pay attention to it.
Yeah, you know, we probably shouldn't even like be talking about this because it'll trigger some kind of algorithm.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have even said that word. You know, it's like it'll do that kind of thing where it's like I don't even know how all that works, but
Dude.
I know it is like you're like, okay, let's make sure to post on Monday morning because maybe
Yeah.
more people will see it, or it's like, you know, stuff
Sunday
like that.
afternoons are like right before a Sons of Stars show because like I'll interview someone and then take a picture with them there, and I've done that 2 times now, and one was with Hannah Ramsey and one was with Ethan Johnson, and those are my 2 most liked pictures. I think just because the time, like just
Most of the time.
yeah, just like 2 o'clock on a Sunday because I guess people are usually just chilling at home, just scrolling on their phone. But I got like 30,000 views on a picture of me, Ethan, and Chloe. Like,
Yeah.
we're not, like, famous people. My picture with, like, Andy Frasco didn't do that good.
Yeah.
So it's weird how, like, some...
That was probably like a mid picture.
No, it was
No,
a...
just
we had a
kidding. No, it was a great picture on the porch.
on the porch, too, yeah.
I saw it.
The
dude.
picture with Chloe and Ethan, though, I love that picture. Chloe's like...
I got a question for you, actually. Or I've been thinking, I was like, watching you grow, like, exponentially fast. I don't even know if that's the right
yeah,
adjective.
I think so. Exponentially might just be...
I don't know.
That's
I'm
like
not
a
great with
oxymoron, I
adjectives.
think.
You know what I mean.
Mhm.
Tomato, tomato. Ellie says, my girlfriend says I invent like a new word every day. Because I'll be like, it's almost like I have like verbal dyslexia or something. I'm like, I'll go to talk and then like like a mix of 2 words comes out sometimes.
Yep.
You know?
I get really excited sometimes, and like I'm like, like when I get like excited, I'm just like I just can't even like get it out. What was the question you were gonna ask though?
But like bringing more guests on the show
Mm-hmm.
and like having more people. What's up, kid? I heard you up there. What do you have to say? We're asking. There you go. That was good. You licked the mic. No,
He's such
but
an
we're
idiot.
asking Clint a question right now. But yeah, bringing more cats and like cool people on
Mm-hmm.
the show. How has that been for you? Like you reach out and you said like people are really eager to like they're just like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like Frasco was the easiest interview I had set up, like of all my interviews. I was sitting on the couch, and I was like, you know how when you go on Instagram and like go in the DMs, it shows like who's on right now, like the little green dot.
Yeah, I think you can like choose
Yeah.
to have it on or off.
So
I
it
don't
was-
have it. I don't have mine on.
Okay.
So I can't see when other people are. It takes the whole thing away.
Okay.
But yeah.
So he was on, and I was just like, fuck it, let me just see. And I was like, yo, man, I see you're in town like this day. Would you have any interest in doing my podcast? Before I could close out of the message, he said, yeah, bud, sounds fun. And then I was like, okay. And he was like, just hit up my management. I hit his management up. They were like, yep, it's set 1 p.m. this
Super
day.
real, super cool dude.
Yeah. And then like people like, I think once I did the Frasco one though, it kind of legitimized what I was doing a little bit more because then more people were open to doing it.
And because he during COVID started
Yeah.
the life-saving, world-saving podcast.
Yeah, because then like Stickley was another one that was like super easy to set up. He's the fucking man also, by the way. That dude was so cool.
Coolest guy, nicest guy.
Sugar Leg
Chillest
though.
guy. He's like super chill.
Yeah.
Dude,
Sugar Leg was
I've never met this kid.
Dude, that was
He
like the
awesome.
That was like the probably sometimes the interviews like almost feel like transactional. It's like I'm doing this to grow my podcast. We're doing this to help you. Like it's just like that's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
And with him, it felt like I like made a new friend by the end of it. Like he was so cool, and like he was like texting me. He texted me like that night, and he was like, "Hope you guys had fun at the show." And the next morning, he texted me, he's like, "Hope you guys got home safe." And I'm like, "This dude's like so cool."
A sweetie. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
he was
know him,
awesome.
But like I can like read it through. That is a positive side of like the interwebs. You know.
Yeah.
It's like if you do it right, which I think he's doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can exhibit your personality, like your real personality through that. And like you were saying with Frasco too, is it's just like you, instead of like, you know, some like stars, you'll message them, or I've messaged like even guys that play in other stars bands, you know, and I'm like, what's it like being in this? And I'll ask points of advice sometimes, and sometimes they'll get back to you, and you're like, wow, it's really genuine, like they're on like your level.
Yeah.
But then like, I guess sometimes you get lost in like the message requests
Mhm.
thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
You never hear back, and you're like,
That's
But
what happened.
It's so cool when they do like, and they're just like actually like a down to earth cat, just like you.
That's what happened with the Music Never Stopped guy. Shouts out B. But I was just like, I messaged him and was like, would you have any interest in like partnering? Because like maybe I could help you with like event promotion for like interviews, and you would help me grow a lot. And he was like, hey man, I actually love that idea. He's like, lucky I saw this, because he's like, I get so many message requests, I never look at them. And it just happened to be that like he saw that one, and now like without it, I mean, he's like helped me grow so much, and like he shares everything of mine. So like he's really.
Well, I think it's kind of like you've been working hard at it, and like you said, like you were like, I didn't realize how much I have to stay active on all this. And it's like, I think that when you put in a little work on your end, like that's obviously like you hope that the other end comes back, and like it has, and that's like, and like me and Ellie were talking last night about like people that are famous, or like we were talking, or I was like this morning, I can't remember, maybe it was last night, but like Jesse Wells, that the singer songwriter.
I would love to get that dude on.
Yeah, he's like recently gotten like boom, and he's a great writer. And he recently, I was telling her, like he posted a poem like yesterday or something, which is like new for him. He's got his content where he's like singing in the power, like, you know, and he's got the text on the screen, and it's like he's really quick on the gun with like controversial, or not controversial, but like current political stuff. He's very like our current day Bob Dylan, everyone always says in the comments and all, but he, of course, he's his own in his own way, and he's a great writer. But he like did a poetry thing, and I was like, that was different, like a different edge of it. And she was like, yeah, I feel like he's like really genuinely like, she was like, I feel like he earned his like famosity. See, I admitted the word. That's probably.
I know exactly what you mean, though. I know his fame.
Yeah, there you go. I like famosity.
Famosity's better, yeah.
But like,
I'm gonna write down all the words like, you make up.
He earned it, I guess. Like, I don't know if there's not an earn, but like, you know, sometimes it just like falls into people's like, and that's great too. But it's like, I don't know. There's not like a right or a wrong way to do anything. Kind of like improvisation or music. But it's like. He definitely, like, you can see these cats like Billy Strings or whatever, where it's like, yeah, it's like you see their organic path of like what led them to where they are, and then at some point it just like
booms.
Yeah, and like Lindsay Pruitt from John Stickley Trio, the fiddle player, she'd be a cool person to get on. I'm gonna,
because John said the same thing, and I don't really like. I messaged her, but she has like the approve thing to see my message, so she probably won't see it. But I might ask, because John was like, you should get her on, so I might ask him to help me.
Jason, her boyfriend plays in our band, so maybe I'll just
put really?
some word. Yeah, he's the banjo player.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's also Boys with Drury, too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, and he, like, told me way back, he was like, or, like, not way back, but we were playing a gig recently, and I mentioned them, like, bragging on him or something. He's like, oh, yeah, I've known Luke and Drury for, like, ever. He's like, he said he helped Luke pick out, like, one of his first fancier dreadnoughts or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, I put up a story of you guys playing one time, and D-Law was like, yo, that's the homie Jason. Tell him I said hey. I was like, I'll find him during set break, let you know.
Yeah, dude, no. We'll get Lindsay on here. But she told me one time, we were talking about this thing, about like when things stick and grab and things like take off, you know, or like how it is to be a professional musician and like be on the grind and working while also like constantly like aiming for the next step. Like you're like a business, you're just building.
Yeah.
But of course, you like a good business is it's genuine and it's not just business transactional. Like you said, like it's non-transactional almost. But it is, because you can make money. But it's like it's just genuine. And she was like, but what she said was keep throwing noodles at the wall
till something sticks.
And a lot of them will just fall off the wall, and then like boom, one will stick.
Yeah, that's kind of been like, so I made the decision. I was initially going to do one a week, and then I was like, one a week is like fine, but like 2 a week will just like, it's so much more, and people like know who I am more, and I think that'll. And now I'm kind of like, fuck, 2 a week is a lot. Like
putting out 2 episodes a week.
Yeah, Mondays and Thursdays. So like it's
that's pretty. Like, you're kicking ass though. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, like you see the people that are really growing quickly. Like I was talking about Jesse Wells. It was like which it's Wells. I keep wanting to say Wales, and Ellie's like, it's not Wales.
I always thought it was Wellies.
Wellies.
Yeah, because there's
like,
the E at the
internet.
end. Yeah,
we don't know how to
exactly.
say things.
Yeah,
We just read them, or like, you know, maybe he should have like, yeah. a video where he says, "Hey, I'm Jesse Wells."
He's probably like, it's fucking Wells, you idiot.
Yeah, come on, dude, get it right.
I like Wellies. I'm sticking to Wellies.
Wellies. Yeah, like there's a guy, Michael Daves, and it's like it's the same way. I'm like, is it Davies? Is it?
Oh,
Davies?
there's an I between the V and
No,
the.
it's just Daves.
Oh, okay.
He's a great flat pick and bluegrass singer. He lives up in New York, but he's from Georgia, and I've just been following him online. He does some classes. He plays with Alex Hargraves sometimes.
Okay.
I think I said his last name right. Yeah, so we're getting hung up on the name pronunciation.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? They're all, it's so beyond that. But
Back to
and
what
someone
you're.
told me once that like I remember like asking someone, they were from like another country or something, like somewhere in Europe, and I was like, oh, what's your name? After we were talking, and they were like, they almost kind of laughed at my question, and they were like, that's so like American.
Yeah.
To like, I'm like,
Really?
Is it? And I don't know. Maybe that was just them.
Where were you at in Europe?
I wasn't in Europe. I was
Oh, they were Europe.
They were
European.
They were from Europe, and I was in Savannah, and it was like just like a friend's friend or something. I don't know, but I remember that stuck with me and thinking, we do care about names, but sometimes it's like that doesn't really matter.
That's one thing, dude. Since being here, especially since starting the podcast, because like you said, like I got recognized in Raleigh at the Dale Donato show. Someone was like, "Are you all jammed up?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." So that was like
maybe
pretty cool.
This is working.
But like at One World now, like I remember the first episode, you were like, "All those people are like my family now," and I was like,
yeah.
and I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And then like now, 3 months later, I'm like, "Okay, these people like are like my like family. Like these are like some of the best friends I have, and I've been here for 3 months." But I'm meeting all these people, and like I just can't remember their names, dude. I'm always mixing up people's names.
Yeah, dude. It's
I think I'm pretty close to getting everybody down now, but it took me some time.
It's a real thing, and it's a face thing. It's like a face name game.
Mm-hmm.
I always was told by a friend that if you can like look at someone's face when they tell you their name, and then in your head, which you never remember to really do this, you'll do it the like second or third time you have to ask them their name, and they're like, "We've met."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh my god!" And then you say it 5 times in your head, and like imagine writing it on Sharpie on their head.
But I meet like 4 people at a time. Like I feel like I met Steven's whole family like at once, like Raina,
Oh, yeah.
Jaden, and I was just like, I'm not gonna remember any of you guys. I remember Steven's name because
I've made
he's a
it a
character.
party game before when I'm in like, when you're at a party and you like don't know anyone,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll like walk into the kitchen and you're like, "Hey, I'm Alex," because you don't want to just stand there and like. But that's what I mean. That's what maybe the person meant by that's such an American thing is to like have to come in and introduce your name instead of just like inserting yourself and coexisting without like.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But like.
But everyone knows you, so that's probably we have even more people. Like people already know who you are here.
Yeah, but in a situation that you don't, and you're just like something like in our scene people recognize me, but Asheville is so like you'll think like, oh yeah, this is the scene, and then you'll like find this other scene, and you're like, whoa, where did all these people come from? It's like got all these like sub layers.
Do you know who the
like,
sludge is?
Yes, they're like actually Ellie goes way back with them.
Really?
Some of them, yeah.
I don't know his name, but he's like the half stash. Declan. Okay, yeah, Declan.
Yeah, they
He's the homie, dude. I fuck with that dude.
Yeah,
he's cool as shit.
They went to Warren Wilson. Yeah, but they're all like super creative, like super.
That's a totally different scene. Exactly
what I was thinking is like that scene is huge, and they're like do crazy like live installations and stuff like that, and like their group of bands and stuff, and it's like, it's like whoa, like there's so many layers of Asheville, but and it's because it's small, but it's like but anyways, when you walk into I walk into one of those parties and I don't know anybody, I've made like a game of like there'll be 5 or 6 people in the kitchen, they all tell you their name at once because they'll be like, I'm Jared, I'm Jessica, I'm Ryan, I'm Miranda, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay. And then go around and say it back and be like, okay. And then they're like, oh, you did good. And if you missed one, they're like, oh. And then just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, boom, boom, boom. And it becomes like a fun
And they appreciate you trying, too, I'm sure.
And
like
everyone's getting excited because you're saying their name. They're like, Jessica, Ryan. They're like, woo, that's me.
He did it. You want a treat?
And then you also get to remember their names.
It's a win-win for everybody.
It is. And it's like you walk away and you're like, that was fun. You know those moments?
Yeah.
When you walk away from something, you're like, that was tight, yo.
I've been having a lot of that where I just leave somewhere and I'm like, damn, I had a really nice time today. Like that birthday party Steven had.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I was like,
that was so cool, man.
When me and Chloe got in the car, I was like, when we were leaving, I was like, this is why we moved here. Like, that was so fucking cool. Like, so fun.
Yeah, like, Asheville's special in those ways. Like, I've only lived here in Savannah and Tybee, but like,
Shouts out Tybee for life.
yeah, dude. But it's like Asheville is. I remember when in the first 2 or 3 years that I lived here, I heard people talking about the crystal like grid underneath Asheville or something. Have you heard about that?
I have not heard that.
Yeah.
Some kind of like.
Friend went on a big rant.
Oh, of course your mom's friend did.
Yeah. I don't remember any of them. I'm too high now.
But I'm like, don't Asheville, you know, conspiracists, don't quote me on this, please. But I do think that I don't think, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I know or what I think about this. But I remember hearing that there's like a court system, or I don't know if it's that. It's like a court system or some kind of awesome crystal that's like a positive one that draws us in.
Finish that
And
one?
it's underneath the ground in Asheville. And there's a crystal grid underneath the ground.
We gotta go find it, dude.
And it keeps us all here. It's like when you move to Asheville and you're like, boom, I like it here, I'm gonna stay. And everyone ends up like not leaving. You meet people, you're like, how long have you been here? And they're like 25 years.
Forever.
Yeah, and you just
It's the
stay.
crystals.
It's the crystals under the soil keeping you all here.
That was pretty cool,
That's
that
what
point
I heard,
right there.
actually. So
I believe
sick.
it.
But I don't know, people do leave, but then they come back. I might do that. Don't tell anybody though.
Are you gonna leave soon?
No, I don't know what I'm doing
Oh.
actually. I'm not gonna leave right now or anything. I don't have any plan. But that's where it's like, yeah, you're always kind of weighing that out in some ways. You're like, what am I doing? Is this where I want to be? And you're like, I think the next step for me is Asheville's a great home base, and it's great to be here, and it's great to like, you can go out and tour and stuff, and like still come home and then have like work when you're home,
Yeah.
Which like if you lived in a town that's like smaller without as a great local music scene, you come home off tour or something and you're like, what is there to even do tonight? Is there any bands playing nearby? And it's like,
How many nights a week do you play? 4?
right now, like before the hurricane it was 4, and right now I'm back to 3.
Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
Friday, Sunday, and then like this week I played 4 because I had a gig last night. But it's like, and sometimes you'll get 5 or 6, sometimes 7. Like last summer, I was doing like 7 or 8 sometimes in like a 5-day, 4-day period where you'd like double up. And it is about to get on that train, that level of like, summer's about to kick off, dude. Like, we're opening up for Sam Bush at Pisgah.
Yeah, you got a fire festival at One Road. Oh, god damn it.
We're going to be playing. Oh, it's perfect. No
Nice.
bubble. Or bubble, but no spill. You were playing at the All Jammed Up Festival.
Buy your tickets now. Come on, guys. They're
It's gonna
2
be
for
fun.
1 right now. They're 2 for 1 right now.
How many bands are there?
4.
4. 2 for 1 tickets is like kind of a deal.
Yeah, we're going to probably do it the rest of the month because I want the locals and the podcast listeners to be able to get cheap tickets because I know 40 is kind of steep, but I got to pay these fucking bands, man. I don't have any backing.
That's some cool thing that I think that is really cool, that you care about giving the musicians what they're worth.
Yeah.
Because like,
Because when we were talking, I was like, I'm going to give you this. And you can do this. And I was like, no, I'm going to give you this.
and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then it was like, that's actually like kind of how the standard should be.
Yeah.
But it is like, you can't blame everyone for trying to like make ends meet. But I think sometimes people try to overcompensate on what they need to budget, and they try to budget what they're going to pay the bands. And then it's like, actually, it's like, you actually have a lot more room to like, it's like, Times are tough, so everyone's trying to like make it work. So we are too. Like when we play gigs with people, we want to be good people and deliver. And like, it's so hard for me to turn people down when the number's not right. Mm-hmm. But it's like, and I'm having to run all that right now too, which is tough because I want to just focus on the music. Yeah. But I think we're about to jump to the next stage of like trying to get an agent or someone to. Dude, we'll talk about that off that, but yeah, it's a whole thing. It's like but you've got a killer work ethic, you know, and it's. I'm lucky enough too, where like I have a job that pays for my bills. So, like I don't make anything from the podcast, and if I could make $500 from the festival, like profit, that would be dope. So I can get a new camera. Like that's like all I want to do is get a new camera for the. So I don't have to use my. I want to use 2 cameras, so I can have like one on you and one on me, and then edit it. It's like whoever's talking. No, yeah, and then on. You can like and eventually like. I was like thinking of this on the way over, just like about podcasts, and like I'm like, what's that art form like? And it's like, what do you need to make it work? Because I know what it needs to like make a band work. You're like, okay, get these guys, get the sound system, like boom, boom, check, and then it's like, okay, well then you can have the band, you can have your sound system, which is like what we have now. We have the mics, we have the camera, but then it's like if you get in-ears as a band, in-ear monitors, then you're on the next step. And it's like the in-ears are like makes the quality so much better for you guys on stage, which makes the mix out front easier. But then it's like that's a financial step up in the business, just like you're saying with the multiple camera thing. I need to get more mics too, because sometimes I'll interview like I interviewed all of Arkansas, so it's like 4 dudes. Arkansas. And we're all just like passing this mic around, and like I know it's kind of got to be like a pain in the ass to listen to, like. The like pause between passing the mics. So if I could get like, and if I could just get like a clip mic too, it would just make everything more. Like you wouldn't have to be sitting up like this, you know, it'd just be way more casual. I could be like. But yeah, there you go. That works. Does this work? Yeah, that works. Whoa. So I did have I know we've been rambling here, but I did have a couple questions that I prepared myself for. Yeah, this has just been a very hang. I like it. Yeah, this is fun for me because I usually like have to stress about if I have enough questions or anything. I wrote 4 down today. Honestly, it was like you texted me this morning and I was dropping Ellie back off at her car because we left it in town last night. And I was like, or she was dropping me off in my van. Actually, I left my van in town, but you were like, "Yeah, good for 11." I was like, "Sweet, yeah, we're good." Nice. And I remembered, but it was like, oh yeah, let's go ahead. I was like, I gotta remind this dude because there's a good chance he could forget. Yeah, dude, no. Not me. I would never forget. So when we did this last time, I asked you the goals for Sons of Stars this year, and you told me to record. What's the progress on that? Well, it's kind of top secret, of course. No, but no, we actually are in the process of like something really cool with being able to record with some friends that me and Johnny know, and like there's more to be said on this soon. We'll get back on it, but it's in progress. It's definitely like right now I'm in like the thick of like, I guess it's kind of like Darwin, you know, or is he the one that said an object in motion is likely to stay in motion? That was Newton? I think it was Newton, yeah. It wasn't Darwin though. Darwin was natural selection. Darwin was the other guy. He was natural selection. Like the bird, the finch guy. Like the Galapagos turtles. Yeah, didn't he do it with birds too? Totally, he did. And their beaks, and he was like... You might be right about the beaks. Yeah, something like that. But, enough about science bullshit. But, Newton, though. My dude. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah. Totally forgot what I was talking about. It's great. It's all right. We answer the question. I actually planned on saying that today. I was like, at some point, I'm going to say, I totally forgot what I was talking about, and that's perfectly okay. Yeah, dude, John Stickley's interview, he was like talking about his prep for his shows. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I like to be with my guitar for 2 hours before shows. And he was like, it's not always practicing. It's just kind of like getting comfortable, getting there. And he's like, and sometimes I only get 30 minutes. But when that happens, I just tell myself,
whatever my best is right now is the best I can do right now, and that's okay. And I was like, that is a very good way to look at things in life.
Dude, I feel like that's what my mom told me when I went to kindergarten every day. Like that old show, it's not that old, I guess, for some people, but Roly Poly. Remember that? Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird. It's kind of trippy when you go back and look at it. You're like, a lot of your childhood shows are weird.
Rocket Power?
Yeah, you're like, this shit is like made by some heads.
Uncle Tito was definitely dosing.
Yeah, like or Harold in the Purple Crown.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that shit's wild. But yeah, John told me the same thing. When we first met, we were hanging out and at this festival called Bass and Grass.
Yep.
Shout out Bass and Grass. And John was there with Lindsay and their drummer Hunter. And John said, "Yeah, I really like to like." He's like, "You don't just hop right in to playing like insane licks." And I was like, "Okay, that makes sense." And then we like went and sat down to go like pick with this circle, and he just hopped right into playing insane licks. And I was like, I never even really flat picked before. I kind of told you about this summer thing where I was like, I don't even knew really. I played like some blues licks.
He's so humble too, dude. Like,
Yeah, but that's what I mean is like we were standing over, kind of like finishing up our dinner before we went over and picked. He was just being so cool, and he was like, "Yeah, I really liked." He said the same thing to me.
back into the mic, dude. Back into the mic.
What? Back in the mic?
You're talking to the side of it.
Oh, I don't know what to do. It's like I don't have any microphone technique. I do when I'm like focusing on stage, but no. But John was like, yeah, he said the same thing. I like to like really ease my way into it, and
He was the man.
yeah, and I'm like, dude, that's the way to go, and it's humbling because you're like, yeah, you know, you can't just like jump right on, and sometimes you have to, and like he said, that's the best you can do. But that's what Roly Poly also said. He says, my mom would tell me on the way to kindergarten, if you do your best today, do your best, and that's the best you can do.
That is such a good way to look at life, though.
And then I would go to kindergarten and be like, I just threw up in the toilet. Can I go home now?
You'd said that like a little. I just threw up in the toilet. I need my mom to come get me.
And the teacher would be like, come show me the throw up. I'd be like, I flushed it. She'd be like,
just chewed up goldfish. You spit back in the toilet.
dude, that's genius. I wasn't that smart yet. That was actually like pre-K, like the year before. And that's probably why she started telling me, do your best, because that's the best you can do.
I had an accident today.
Teacher was straight like, dude, you're full of shit. Like, go sit
I flushed
back
it.
down. She was like, I flushed it. Yeah. And do you remember those classrooms where they would be like, did you ever have the classrooms that had a bathroom in between the classes, and there was like two classrooms on both sides, and then the other classroom shared the other wall? So you would sometimes go in the bathroom, and there would be this completely random kid in there from another class. And this is in the grade where you like didn't switch classes. Like your class was like your country. That was like all you knew.
Lithuania.
Yes. You're like, this is my class. The rest of the
Your kid voice kills me. This is my class.
This is my class. Is that just my voice? Does it still sound like a kid in kindergarten? Maybe, but you know what one of my jazz teachers said?
Famosity.
He was like, my high school jazz teacher, super wise guy. You know, he always had like really cool sayings that were like really make you think. Like me and my friends Jeremy and Noah Prince, they were two twins and they played trumpet and saxophone. We formed a band in high school called the Sound Experiment.
That's not your like metal band that you were in Georgia, right?
No, I wasn't in a metal band in Georgia.
What was it? Well, y'all were playing like in a garage, like a.
Oh, it sounds kind of metal because of how Bobby was playing.
Yeah.
No, that was like we were trying to be like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd.
Okay.
That was called Orca.
Orca.
This is before that, the Sound Experiment. But my friends Jeremy and Noah, we were always like Michael, or we were like, yeah, our teacher is like, it's like he's like holding knowledge above us. And we're like jumping for it, and as soon as we get close, he like pulls it a little farther, and then that makes you like able to jump higher and higher. Maybe that's what a good teacher does. Is they like show you what's capable, but without a lot of words. Because when you like over explain, you're like trying to tell the person like your experience with it, but you kind of you almost want to introduce them to
their own experience,
walk them to the water, and then like show them that you can jump in, but like let them figure that out, how to do it in their own way.
Analogies. We're back to the analogies, dude. Remember the first episode? You were coming hot with the analogies.
I make up words and I use analogies. I think I've talked about this before too, is like I remember like growing up, where I used to get told, and this is still true, I mean, it's something I have to like actively work on, is using like a filter when I talk, you know, and not that I have like bad things to say.
I have that issue at work.
Yeah, but like it's like I think improvising music, there's like a valve almost that you open, and you're letting ideas, like a stream of consciousness, just flow through. And I think great lecturers are the same way, where they start talking, even like I'm doing right now, and you're like not really sure what you're saying, but you're kind of hearing it as it's coming out, and it's like live.
And you trust that you're going to get there.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, now you just jinxed me. I might kind of get there. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, because I just totally... But it's like, yeah, where were we actually? No, that's how my brain works sometimes. Yeah. It's like you're on this flow and you're like trusting your source of, and sometimes it leaves you, but it's like you can really ride out. I'm going to go back and listen to this and be like, what was I just like exactly trying to get to before? Do you remember?
I do that to Chloe all the time. I feel like I'll start talking to her, and then I'll just be like, what was I saying again?
Where did that begin?
Are we giving ourselves brain damage?
I just start talking as we're drinking mimosas at noon. I start on one thing, and then as I'm thinking, I go into something else I'm thinking about, and I was like, what was I supposed to be talking to you about right now? Because I just have all these thoughts in my head that I just like have diarrhea of my mouth.
Oh, filter, brain filter.
Yes.
This is where we're at. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what improv is. And it's like, this is like a jam between us right now. We're almost jamming. It's like...
I'm basically in a jam band.
You're basically in a jam band right now.
Of words.
Because conversation is like that. And when you're learning how to jam, jazz teachers also often talk about how it's a conversation. And you like, there's no wrong or right, you know? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you get off course like that. And you're like, but where is that leading us? And you like almost forget where you started. And that's happened to me in songs too, where you're like end up in a sick jam. And like that's why I don't like getting like too fucked up and playing, because I want to be able to let the music play. I don't want to be like buzzed. That can be after, like, you know, later. Like you get a little buzz and have fun, but it's like, you know, that's
you guys
the buzz
have
management.
Been on fire lately. I feel like
well,
that set you did, like, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, where we just segued all those songs.
Dude, that All Fall Down you guys have been doing is like so good. Like,
thank you. But I thought of this but to wrap up the flow, this kind of ties into it. It's like when there's not a filter, you do flow through things, and you can get sidetracked in other areas. But I think the more you do it, the more you're kind of aware of your place in the whole thing, and you can kind of like navigate through this flow of like consciousness. But in a conversation, you don't want to dominate and like be spending the whole time speaking your consciousness. You leave room for the other person in the room, and you kind of both grow together, and then you wind up in some other place together.
100%, yeah. 'Cause since I've done the interviews, I feel like I've gotten a lot better interviewing. This one I feel like has been way more conversational than a lot of my interviews. It's more of an interview. I ask a question, they talk. And I even find myself today, like, because we're just more talking than an interview, but I found myself like interrupting you a couple times, and I'm like, stop. But then it's a conversation, not an interview. So like, yeah, it happens. And it's hard to like, that's definitely the hardest thing is like, I'll ask someone a question and they'll say something. And in that question, I want to like learn more about just what you said, but it's like, I have to let them finish his thought. And then by the time they finish the thought, I forget the question I had. And then I'll listen back to it and be like, fuck, I missed out on something. I could have asked them. I should have interrupted because I could have got more.
Oh, I just did it to you.
Yeah, it happens.
I think we all beat ourselves up too much on everything. That's 100%. A whole other point. It's like I was chilling with my buddy Bradley last night, and he's like a poet, hip hop like rap artists. Like he was at like our
Bradley
hang.
Cat's boyfriend?
Yeah.
He does hip hop?
He makes like him and Craig have like a group where they like
Long haired Craig?
yeah.
Oh.
The dreads, yeah.
Oh, not with the that's other Craig. Okay.
Yeah, but they yeah.
He has like the black dreads, right?
Yeah. They have music out on Spotify and all too, and it's like I'll have to look at the exact name of their album, but because we should shout it out later. But they're cool, man. But we were jamming acoustic guitars, like picking at this party, and we were playing like Dave Wrong. We were just doing like folky stuff, you know, Dave and Gillian Welch stuff, you know, and or Dave Wrongs. They're not both Gillian. Dave Welch, Gillian Welch. No, that'd be funny. But
Gillian Keeves.
No, but he was like, "Yo, let me come spit some bars on y'all's jam." And we were playing like a song, but we looped this one spot to make it like work for. And it's funny because that same day I actually put on like the Grave Diggers, which is like I don't remember where they're from, but it's like it's total '90s hip hop rap, like super.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty good, but and I listen to this different shit to like clear my. Like it's almost like you clean your
palate,
nasal ways. Yeah, it's like clean the palate.
That's what I say about getting in Chloe's car, because like I just find myself like getting in the car and like putting on Billy Strings, putting on The Dead, putting on like the most recent Nug show of Dogs in a Pile or something, and it's just like always jam bands or like that kind of music. And I get in Chloe's car and we put on shuffle and it's like Rihanna or like Ed Sheeran. I'm like, this is kind of nice to like just
Totally
get like a 3 minutes.
Whoa, sorry, Siri.
Just getting like a 3 minute song where it's just like a catchy chorus, a nice verse, and then I can sing along, and it's just like on to the next one. Cause
yeah, dude, like
fresh
I've been listening to this artist Maddie J. She's from LA, but shout out Maddie J. She probably won't ever hear this, but you never know.
Yeah,
but
she might.
The internet's funny. Like
you know,
that.
Your first episode was my second most streamed episode of all my episodes.
Lucky me, dude.
Behind Sugar Leg, so you're in good company.
Dude, I want to hang with that dude.
We could make that happen. I asked him
Sugar Leg, you don't know her yet. We're gonna be friends.
I asked his band. He has another band, the Freedom Junction, and I asked him if he wanted to play the All Jammed Up Festival, and he was like, "Dude, I would love to do that, but they're in Red Rock. Cosmic Country's in Red Rocks that way." And he was like, "Another time, that if you can set that up, my band will come play."
Yeah, I saw that band on his page, and I was like, man. Yeah, they seem cool.
He's insane, dude. He has a self-titled album on Spotify.
He went on American Idol recently. He's like, "What's up?
I'm Sugar Leg."
He's like, the one guy's like, "What the
hell does that mean?"
He's like, "Yeah, dude."
Going off of conscious flow state and jamming and stuff, tell me about when you played with Fireside after Billy Strings.
Oh, that was so fun,
dude. That made me like a proud dad when I was like, it's my guy Alex out there, dude, just fucking killing it, dude. It goes to the crowd and there's a bunch of people like, that was awesome.
That was one of those, like, my dad was there too. My mom and dad were in town for Billy, and because they live down in Savannah, so they like don't get to be up here and see like what we're doing as much, you know. And so he was in town with my mom, and she actually.
Are they together?
Yeah,
okay,
they're still together.
Gotcha.
Thick and thin, as they say. But he was at the show, and she was at home, or at the hotel. She didn't feel great that night, and I was like, "Mom, take it easy. Like, don't push yourself. Like, go home and chill." Or like, and I was kind of buzzed too, and I was like, "Okay, like, I don't want to like, you know, you get that age where you're like looking out for your parents." A little bit too.
I did that last night at Eggy. I was like, "Y'all can go. Y'all can go up the first set."
Oh, your folks were there?
Yeah, they came. That was my mom's first jam band concert.
Oh yeah, and you're kind of like.
They played Pink Paradise by Counting Crows too.
My parents are like '80s Deadheads.
Yeah,
like, so they can hang. Like they were at Billy in Savannah last night.
Fuck yeah, you got a fire show.
Yeah, they're like, my mom's like texting me like we're like gonna highlight this part because we don't. she's like, yeah, we're partying. She's like, I'm like, all right, yeah, I don't want to know anymore. She's like, and then she's like sending me pictures of them like raging at Billy, and I'm like, and you almost feel like the parent where you're like, hey, be safe.
You can always take less. You can never take more, right? Slow down.
You're like, yeah, or it's just like, they're having fun. You look at them like, oh, they're having fun. Be safe.
Yeah.
And then later you're like, that's pretty cool that they like get it and they can go to the show. And they brought some of their friends too. I was thinking they brought their friends Craig and Angie that like from out in Sylvania in the countryside, and it's like they're like turning these cats on to the bluegrass and the scene, and it's like, and they love it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool when people that are not like born into like the hippie scene or like, you know, have deadhead parents.
Yeah.
And so, but when they're older in life and they like maybe. Like, these cats loved blues and music their whole life. I used to pick around the campfire when I was like a little kid, you know, up in the country. We'd hang out up in Port Robin, and I'd play around the campfire. And they actually were some of the people that inspired me to start singing, because I used to just play guitar. And Craig was always like, "You sing, man? You should sing when you play the guitar too. You'd make it a whole thing." And I was always so nervous because I loved Led Zeppelin, and Jimmy Page didn't sing. So I was like, I'm going to have to sing because Jimmy Page didn't sing.
You know who you guys could cover that you, as you singing, would do a really good job of? Anything by Daniel Donato.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was listening to. Yeah, I was listening to some of their old, like, not old. It was what is the album that? No, not that one. The one before that one. But we were listening to Vinyl the other day, and I was like, you know, Alex could cover one of these songs, and his voice kind of, because he's like a little higher on the.
But it's not like it's not like super high. But have you heard Sugar Legs sing some shit?
Yeah.
Dude he sounds like
sugar.
Yeah, like dude is like fucking. He can see. I was literally like.
Did you listen to that episode?
It is amazing.
Not all the way through.
Do you know why he does that?
Why?
When he was 18 years old, he tried out to be a choir minister at an all-black church in Missouri. And the pastor was in another room next to it, so he could hear it, but he couldn't see it. And he was like, yo, whoever that is, give them the job. Gave him the job. Sugar Leg comes in the next day, 18 years old, skinny white kid at an all-black church. He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I was hired to be the choir minister. And they were like, no way. So that's where he learned to sing like that.
No, yeah, and he's using these like, I'm not going to speak for his technique, but it sounds like he's in this like head tone, but place where it's like it's almost like Bee Gees level of like so high. And I was going to say it's like it's almost like some of that gospel. I actually had a not similar experience, but I got hired to play guitar in this band. It was all like African American black church, you know, and it was like in Savannah, Georgia, and it was this like rundown gym. It was called like His Majesty's Baptist Church or something like that. I can't remember, but it was like it was in a gym that wasn't a gym anymore, but it was a church. And then on Sundays and Wednesdays they had church there. But I got hired to come play the second service, so they were like, come to the first time I showed up, they said, come to the service. And so I went, and they were like, come to watch the first guitar player play so you can kind of see what he's doing. And I came and sat in the audience, and they were like, is there any new people here today? Any people that haven't ever been here before? And I was just there to do my job. Like, he told me to show up early, the guy that hired me, to watch the other musician. And I was like, I need to be here. So I showed up to watch. And they said, when they asked, is there anyone in the audience that hasn't been here before?
You had to stand up.
I could have just been like, but it was like, obviously, I was like.
The only white person I've had.
Yeah,
I did that when I was 16. Me and my friends thought it would be like funny to go to an all black. We like dress in our nicest clothes, and they did the same thing. And like the three of us stood up, nicest clothes, three white dudes. They were like, okay.
Yeah, but I was just there for the gig, and I stood up, and they were like, and they brought me down. They were like, well, they started playing this song, and then some of the choir ladies came and grabbed me, and like they walked me down to the aisle, like, and to the front, and we like with like a crew of people all like got kind of like when you go up to the rail at a jam band, we all just got down and started like, woo, you know, like praise the Lord.
Jesus is working,
and Jesus is working through my body, and it was like, damn, like, and I was like, I didn't expect to do that day, and then I went and played after. And the band was set up at a different spot than I was there because they kept me and I played with them for like a year. But that first gig was when I got in. They didn't know that I was a band member yet. They thought I was just like a random audience member. But and I was all by myself. So it was kind of surreal. They brought me in. And then I went, and just because of the spiritualness, that's what I mean by surreal. It was definitely like, I definitely believe in like something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and there's, you know, I'm not like, there's nothing going on. It's like, and I like, yeah, we can get into all that in another episode.
Yeah.
But it's like, I went and played the second set, so to say, but it's the second sermon. And we were like...
Second set of God.
Second set of church, baby. Because they fucking went to church all day, dude. It was like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. I swear to God. No,
they do that, yeah.
I swear to God. And they were like, yeah, play the second service. And so I played the second service, and at one point I kind of realized, like, okay... The organ player, because they've got like organ cabinets, like a B3 organ, Hammond organ, which is like Allman Brothers, like that's what Greg played. It's just like, it's like sending waves of sound through the audience, and you can hear it hitting the people, and they're like blown back.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's this crazy thing. But they were like, I realized, okay, I can jam over this like Mixolydian scale and like just jam over the group that the band is playing, and I don't really have to know the changes. And you could tell that's what they were doing too. Is like the organ player and his dad were the organ player and the bass player. That was his dad. The bass player was.
Okay.
So they just like connected on a wave, and I was just like, "What are the changes?" I'd be asking the bass player, Rufus, like, "What are the changes?" And his son Rufus Jr. was playing keyboards, and he's like, "I'm just following him." And then the singers were singing with him, and I was like, "How are they all on the same page when there's no sheet music involved?" And they were all like constantly connected. And that blew my mind, was how it was almost like they just were
so in sync.
Yeah, and it was because Rufus, the keyboard player, and his dad were probably really tight, and then the keyboard player Rufus could see what the singers were doing and match what they were. And I would pick the tonic of kind of where they were in and just start ripping these. I was learning a bunch of like Fish Tray stuff, and so I'd start ripping these like and like the pastor came over and took it. He was like, "Whoa, boy!" He took his rag off and like threw it on me while I was in. I remember this moment. It was like still to this day. It was like this brown rag. He threw it over on me, and I just played through it.
Compels you.
No, yeah, and then later, the bass player and the organ player were like, "Dude, like pastor came over and like threw his rag at you. Like that was like
his blessing."
That was like, I was like, "What does that mean?" They were like, "That's like
you're in
some shit." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I just went every Sunday for like a year, and I showed up at 8, and I played both sermons till 2, and it was like, I eventually stopped because I started getting too many weekend gigs, and I couldn't keep it going. That's a whole other story about showing up at church to play the gig Sunday morning when I had just turned 21. So
little hungover, yeah.
Yeah, you're like literally like puking out the back door of the church, and then you go into the door and you just like start playing, and then like we'd have like a service break, so I'd go get some coffee, and I walked out back, and like all the dudes would be out there smoking cigarettes, and like some of them have like a little flask, and you're like, well, at least I'm in good company.
They're like, I'm missing the game for this. I'm missing the Falcons game for this shit.
No, not even that, dude. It was just like. And then some people would run up down the aisle and they would fall down and lay on the ground and like be passed out from the Holy Spirit, you know.
It's like the same though for Sons of Stars on Sunday. It's like our church kind of like you get to go see all your friends like before the work week starts, and you get to go dance around and be goofy for a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of which, it's like, all right, we got about 5 minutes.
I do want to bring up something that happened to me last night. So before we let you go,
tell me about the Eggy show last night. Is this in relevance to that?
Yep, it is. So Eggy show last night. My mom came in town. My mom and my stepdad Fred came in town for my birthday. My birthday was Thursday, so they came in, and Chloe got me a guitar for my birthday. So we're gonna hopefully learn some things here, and with the help of Alex, hopefully. But anyway, so we did the Eggy show. Brought my mom and Fred. And that was their first jam band show. I was kind of like...
Way to go, Mom and Fred.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how much they're really going to like this. But Eggy every now and then plays like an older song. So they did play Counting Crows, like, Pink Paradise, put up a parking lot. and they like that song.
Counting Crows?
I think it's Counting Crows, right?
No, it's Joni Mitchell.
Counting Crows plays it though, right?
I don't know. Like, you're talking about Pay Paradise,
Just put up a parking lot.
That's straight up Joni. That's 70s Joni Mitchell.
Okay, so Big Yellow Taxi, Joni Mitchell, done by Counting Crows. So we're both right, but you're more right. But anyway, so that went then.
The more you know. I love this. I love doing this kind of thing.
But then we went.
We could do music trivia all day. Let's have a music trivia episode.
Dude, we should go to trivia one night. Me and Chloe have been going, just the two of us.
Are we playing footsie
Again?
now?
We did this last time too.
You guys can't see it, but it's getting down. Except I've got boots on and he's barefoot.
Give me one more mimosa, I'll go crazy. But we're at set break and we're all like sitting out there smoking or whatever, and this chick's like, "Hey, do you have a lighter?" And I was like, "Yeah, my homie Kevin has one." So I get one from Kevin, give it to her, start talking to her, and she's like, "Do you live here? Do you go to a lot of shows?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Have you heard of this band, Stars of the Sun?" And I was like, "Sons of Stars?" And she was like, "I think that's what they're called, but they kept making a joke about being Stars of the Sun." And I was like, "That was probably them." And she was like, "It was all strings, bluegrass. The lead guitar guy was really good." And I was like, "Yeah, that's Sons of Stars. They play every Sunday at One Wood Brewing West."
Good. That's like, we're about to go there right now.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, I can see them once a week." And I was like, "Yeah, every Sunday they're there." And she was like, "Dude, the guy with the long hair was going crazy in the car, kept making jokes between songs." I was like, "That was definitely Sons of Stars." She's like, "So it's not Stars of the Sun?" And I was like, "No, lady, it's Sons of Stars." So
Stars
Rachel,
of the Sun. No, it's Stars of the Sun, y'all. Get it the fuck right.
so Rachel, if you're listening, I gave her a sticker. I told her you're going to be on Monday. She said she'd listen, but I always hear that.
Is this episode Earring Monday?
Tomorrow, yeah.
The fuck does earring mean? Is this episode Earring Monday? Earring?
Airing. It's airing tomorrow.
Earring. It's earring tomorrow.
Earring.
When am I gonna get some headphones like yours?
Maybe next time, dude. Maybe
you
next
guys
time.
come to the All Gemmed Up podcast and spend your money on the tickets to support the cause.
2 for 1 right now, guys. 2 for 1. Come on.
Guys, we're doing this for y'all because we just want to make more content. We want to be able to like go out to the desert and eat peyote.
We're going to do, instead of Coachella, it's going to be Clintella.
And we're gonna go out to the desert,
Coachella.
Grand Theft Auto style. We're gonna turn into a freaking seagull, you know?
No, dude. I don't know what it's like to turn into a seagull.
Oh no! This whole point of this episode has just been a curveball because it's like I feel like we can just hang now. Like I introduced myself in my previous episode. Granted, like the mic was like too far, but like,
Dude, have you listened to
I
that
don't want to
episode?
just be like, guys, come check out this. Come like this is just a hang. I'm not like trying to shamelessly promote myself right now. You know, it's like, but also.
But no, this is if we're about to end.
Shameless promotion.
We're about to end.
Follow
Plug
Sons
it.
of Stars, Amabel Lee Band, Fee Fi Fo Fish. Fee Fi Fo Fish is every Thursday at One World West from 8 to 11. Y'all should start coming out. We put a lot of effort into switching up the sets each week, and then Sons of Stars is on Sundays. Excuse me.
I do want to ask one more thing before.
2 to 5. Yeah, we're going there.
How sick is it that you get to play shows with your girlfriend?
Awesome. She's like my best friend, and you know, like I've been doing music longer than her, but she has helped me with harmonies so much because I've always been a guitar player before I was like a singer. Like I knew how to play guitar, and I kind of like I said, I avoided singing.
Yeah.
Kind of like Led Zeppelin vibes. I was just like scared. And, like props to kids that I see nowadays like doing it all. I'm like, that's awesome. And anyone out there that's like singing and playing, you know, it's tough. And so I was like really scared of doing that as a kid. But she's helped me so much with that. But when we're on stage and we're like playing these tunes, it's cool because it's like that's part of why we're together. Because a lot of like what we love is the same music. We're like, I remember the first night like we hung out, like she put on this Jerry Garcia band song that I hadn't even heard of. And this is this is at the time where I'm in like my Jerry Garcia peak, and I'm like, I know everything Jerry Garcia. You know, you're like 21 or 22 and you're full of ego, and you're like, yeah. And then
Haven't
she
an
was
ego
like,
death yet?
yeah. Oh, I definitely had him. But I was just like, yeah, I know Jerry. And then she showed up and put on like a tune I'd never heard of, where Donna. It was like Sweet Baby, and it was Donna. It's actually, she plays it with Donna Jean
Queen.
Godchild band, but and then she played Strange Man, where it's like Donna's fronting, like the female's fronting these tunes. And I was like, which is kind of what we do now. And I'm like, that's crazy. It blew my mind, and I fell in love with her like right away. And the first night we met, we both were like,
Ellie, I hope you're listening to
love
this
you.
one.
She probably won't listen all the way there. No,
All right,
she
man.
will. Trust you, babe. You will. No, but
We got to get you out of here. No intro, outro today.
no, I think we're just gonna skip the show today and just
keep going here.
I'll just say like,
Let Jackson sing. He can do it.
yeah, let Jackson just front the show.
No intro or outro today, though. You guys know Alex. This is on Sunday. It goes up Monday, so I didn't want to do all the editing for that. New Kendall Street poster. It's up there. It's straight now, so no more bullshit on the comments. And, yep, Timothy Leary. I still haven't read that book.
I started reading it.
Yeah, I read like the first couple chapters.
Larry's crazy, dude. It's awesome. Like my mom was sending me some stuff about his like mansion, or not mansion. It's like a house they bought up in New York where he got kicked out of Harvard or whatever for giving his students acid. And then he was like, well, it's just part of the project. But the next episode, 50th episode.
I think it's going to line up right
Continue
before
that.
the All Jammed Up Festival, too.
Yeah.
I
Will
think.
I be back for 50th?
Yep, 50th and 100th.
Dude, that's fun.
In all honesty, too, when I started it,
not 75th?
I think by then, I mean, we could, but
By then, we should probably just go like every 50.
Yeah, it's
Because you're putting out 2 a week. That's a lot.
And honestly, to be completely honest with you, when we first had you, I had that idea to do like 25th and 50th. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get the 25. I'm notorious for being like starting things, and then when they get hard, just stopping. And I was
I
like,
think you should keep this going.
I like doing this. I don't think I'm gonna stop. Yeah.
I think it's cool, and I can see you enjoying it. I can see that it's like working, and I can see that the musicians are enjoying it. I certainly enjoy it, and I can see that the scene is excited about it. People ask me, "Yo, who's that Clint guy?" And I'm like, dude, he's cool. He's got this like podcast. Like when we were at Stevens, like you went inside for a beer or something. Someone was like, "Who's homie?" And I was like, "Dude's fucking Rip, and he's cool." And they were like, I want to get on that. And that's another thing is that I think it's cool is that you're like not just interviewing all the musicians and you're like interviewing the heads too.
Yeah, because I want to
When
like
you set up for Billy on the sidewalk.
yeah, and then like I had Stephen Barry on here, and then Stephen Miller too, and it's just fun to just like get a different look on it other than just like, hey, how'd you learn how to play guitar? Well, I heard Pink Floyd, and then I picked the guitar, and then I got really into
said that?
Dead. Like everybody.
Oh. Who said that? I want to come find you and I want to play with you. Musically,
Alrighty, but let's get you out of here because you got to go to show. We'll go have fun.
Yeah. It's Bailey. Should we answer the phone call?
Yeah. Tell him he's on the pod.
Yo, Bailey, I'm currently live on a podcast.
You're on the pod, Bailey.
You're on the pod, Bailey. This is our sound engineer for today, and I'm about to head that way. What's up?
Well, what's up? I was just making sure we're still on for outside.
I mean, I'm not like the call maker. I'd like to say that yes, we are, but
All right.
I think you know what to do.
Yeah. All right, well.
Love you, Bailey.
Love you, Bailey. We'll see you soon, really.
Everybody, see ya.
Alrighty, guys.
That's the life, everyone's just constantly. This is why you make a itinerary. You just send it to everyone. Shout out Winston Into the Fog for sending me that itinerary.
All right.
Draft. Peace.
Hey, guys. Go buy your tickets to the All Jammed Up Festival. Fun episode coming Thursday, too. And remember, wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Come along, have a drink with me. We can talk about the world and how the world is turned so slow. Day and night I found cars they drive and planes they fly. I look into the sun and the sky, you're so bright. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know it's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. The moon and the stars, they sail across the sky, and I could watch you dance all through the night. When the rhythm is right, oh, and I know the sun is rising now. Or if the world would just slow down. So you move with me and I'll move with you, and I could spend the rest of my life by your side. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know it's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. There's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down.